Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Sadhguru at BHU, Varanasi, Youth and Truth. Full talk. So anyways, I forgot I'm supposed to be doing this with Sadhguru because I am very much interested in hearing what the people have to say and to see if there's any commonalities with issues going on in different countries. And obviously, and also in the universities, honestly, too. And to see if the issues, say, back in 2018 are the same issues we're having today in 2020 plus. Anyways, let's go get started.
Namaskaram to everyone. Hey, I said namaskaram. Well, why this youth and truth and how it came about? In the last 36 years that I've been active with people, this is one question that keeps coming to me constantly. It's a constant refrain from people. Many thousands of people telling me this. Sadhguru, when I was 20, where were you? Now you come when I'm 60. If you had come when I was 20, I would have done this, I would have done that. So I thought we will step out and meet all those people who are below 25 years of age, and that's why the youth and truth so that you don't come back to me after a few years and again accuse me of the same thing, where were you? Life, when we say life, different people think of it in different ways. But essentially, a certain amount of time and a certain amount of energy is what makes our life. Time is going away for all of us at the same pace. If you sit, it rolls, if you stand, it rolls, if you're doing something, it rolls, if you're sleeping, it rolls. No matter what you do or you do not do, time is rolling away for all of us at the same pace. Or in other words, time is getting over. Hello? It's getting over, isn't it? Since you came and sat here, you're 30-40 minutes closer to your grave than what you were before you came into this hall. That's how it is. One may not look at it that way because most people think they're immortal. Yes They go about their life like they're immortal, but actually time is getting over. In southern India, for example, in Tamil, the word for death is kalamaittanga. That means his time got over. Actually, that's all that happened, isn't it? Hello? His time got over, that's all. So time is rolling away, but life is also a certain amount of energy. How we manage this energy determines who we are in this world. How much energy do you have? How well organized and managed is it will determine what you will do and what you will not do. The scale and scope of your life is determined by this. When you are in this segment of life which we refer to as youth, your energies are at their peak. It's a most exuberant level of energy in this segment of life that we refer to as youth. Most youth do not understand this. They think it is going to be like this for always. It is not going to be like this for always. You must just pay attention to the older people. You will see energies are not at the same level of exuberance. I'm an exception, okay? So, at this time, when our energies are at their best, if we bring little more clarity and balance into our life, the way we utilize and organize this energy will become completely different. The problem with the youth is they are exuberant energy but not enough clarity and balance. Where there is no clarity and balance, even if you have the most powerful thing in your hands, if you do not have the necessary clarity and balance, it could just work against you rather than for you. So, this is the purpose of Youth and Truth. Now this campaign for a month, But we will not stop with this. In the next 2 or 3 months, we will roll out what is called as tools for transformation. This will be available on the app and in various other platforms. We want the youth of this country to make use of this because this is the only wealth we have right now. Wealth means, right now we have a huge youthful population, over 50%, no other nation has this, but youth is a tremendous wealth only if they are inspired, skilled, focused and balanced. If they are imbalanced, uninspired, unfocused, unskilled, they are a recipe for disaster. You understand? So, are we going to make this youthful energy in this country into a miraculous process, which we can, or are we going to make it into a disaster, is in our hands. It's for us to make this happen, we as a generation of people. Never before another generation has known these kind of comforts, conveniences and possibilities. And our ability to communicate today, we can sit here and talk to the entire world. So this is our time on the planet. This is our time on the planet. We are not going to be here forever, but this is our time on the planet. We have all the ingredients that if we bring clarity and balance into our lives, we can become the greatest generation ever. We have the tools in our hand, but will we use the tools to create this, or will we use all these technologies and tools to destroy ourselves? Depends on what kind of human beings we produce, particularly youth, because they are going to be here longer than me and many others here. Because you're going to occupy this planet longer than me, so we wanted to see that you, if possible, we bring some clarity and balance into your life so that this youthful exuberance becomes a great gift for this nation and the world.
Thank you, Sadhguru, for that youth and truth introduction. But before starting the questions, I would like to thank you all for giving this a tremendous response to the Youth and Truth event in BHU. And I would like to thank you all, as well as thanks to all those people, sir. Outside also, more than 500 people are sitting, watching this live telecast. So thanks to them also, they were not able to get the seat inside. So thanks to all of them. So getting on to the first question, sir. Sadhguru, when I try to see myself as a youth and when I try to see myself as a bachelor in university, then one feeling that hurts me the most is the unemployment one. And whatever the thing is, in the final year, I'm not seeking about how many marks I should get in the semester, but should I get the job? That is the most important thing. And then somehow I saw you. I saw your job also very interesting. And
You can apply.
So the question is, sir, you just play with anacondas. You go to drive
no, anaconda.
F1 cars. You drive helicopters. You drive F1 cars.
That was just a king cobra. That was not an anaconda.
You drive everything. So it gives me a very much interesting. I am also afraid of that king cobra, sir, but I won't do it.
Hey, you're saying you're from the town of Shiva, he wore a snake always around his neck, and what?
Okay, but that is a good point, ultimately. So, then I will check it out. So, for me, how I should become like you, cool dude like that?
You can apply for the job. We will process the application, of course. See, we must understand this, in this country. In 1990, only 7% of India was employed. 93% was self-employed. All kinds of small businesses and things, because there was really no organized employment. Now I do not know the exact number, maybe it's gone to 15%, or 20% maybe.
That's actually an interesting thing that he said there. It made me think about again my birth country as well, which is very much the same way. To say only 7% was employed, then how did they make money? It's like, well, no, it's a different time. You know, what is employment is what the government can keep track of. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else that's unemployed is not working. It's a kind of I guess what an Americans would say like a side hustle, but it's really your main hustle. But it's a self-employment that you can't report to the government because there's no government in that area. Even in I don't know if it's more recent talks, the government doesn't have influence everywhere in India. It's a very big country, and it's very difficult to be able to manage such a massive amount of country with a lot of people in it. It is very, very difficult. So to say that you know, people who even there's 50% employment or whatever doesn't mean that others are unemployed. Again, it brings me back to my birth country. When I went back home, there's a whole bunch of people that are self-employed, and all the douches, they have this big it's what they used to. I won't say what it is because it might give away. Anyways, but they hold this big dish thing and they put whatever they make at home and whatever, and they sell it out in the streets to make their money. And they would be considered unemployed. But it's kind of strange that in again developed areas that I keep talking about, they see this as unemployment. It's like, oh man, they're so poor, they don't make money or whatever. They look, in some cases may look down on them, but other cases just saying that they're not employed. They see it as that and that alone. Self-employment in that terms is not employment at all. But I think a lot of youth don't understand that kind of thing. And I'll say, whenever I went back there and I saw all of that, and I discussed this with a friend, I kind of had that a little bit too, but also I understood because I come from that it's just a different thing. You have to do what you have to do to make money or to survive, you know. And whenever areas become developed, that kind of gets pushed back in the shadows that no one sees. So they never think, it's like, oh my gosh, they're unemployed or they don't know how to make money, they're poor, which the poor part may be true, but it's not necessarily like they're suffering necessarily. It's their way of life. It's part of the way of life, and it's something they don't see anymore, that they're not used to anymore. And it's I guess because it's so far back, it's out of the way, out of the main cities, that it's something they don't, I guess it's a bit difficult to comprehend in some parts.
So still over 80% of the people are self-employed. We're talking this employment business. Already I'm in a lot of trouble on the social media because I spoke about employment in the IIM Bangalore, and these are all business masters people, they're doing MBAs, and they're asking about employment. I said in a developing country, you shouldn't be looking for employment. A developing country means there are still a lot of things to be done in this country. When there are so many things to be done, instead of looking around and seeing as youth, what can I do and how can I make something out of that, you are sitting and waiting for somebody to come and give you an employment. Well, this language of what is the employment rate in the country comes from United States because almost everybody is employed except a small segment of entrepreneurs. So that's a different nation, this is a different nation. Here, there is no organized employment of that scale. You cannot employ 1.3 billion people in a factory or an office or wherever else. They have to find their way. And they are finding their way. The rural population is not employed. It's only the urban youth, the moment they get educated, somehow they get crippled. Those who are not educated are finding a way to live, isn't it? Hello? Those who never went to the college, university, they're all finding a way to make a living. But the moment you get educated, should you be more capable or less capable? You should be more capable. So you should give the employment to them and you should become the employer. Yes? Tell me, if you look around in Kashi, Aren't there 1,000 things that you can see on the street that you can take up and do and make a business out of it? Can you or can you not? There are. So, I'm not saying there should be no employment generation. Yes, that needs to happen on one level. But don't ever believe 1.3 billion people can be employed in a factory or office or some organized sector, it's just not possible. We don't have that level of organized employment generation and it's just not possible at all. It is just that we have to see in a developing country how we can develop this country, every one of us. If you can't do it by yourself, 10 of you should get together and do it. But right now the problem is 10 of you cannot get together, 2 people can't get together. Plus change this now. If 10 of you students get together, you think you can't start something and run successfully? Can you or not? You can. But you 10 people can't get together, but you want to go into a company where there are 1 million people working together. This is unrealistic. So, this is going to be super unpopular video, I know. A whole lot of people, I'm on camera, a whole lot of people are going to scream at me, oh, he's this, he's that, he doesn't know what's employment, oh, become a guru. Well, try, why don't you try? You can try that also, that is also useful.
But yeah, I mean, that is kind of the strangest thing too. That is a lot of, I don't know what actual percentages in the United States, but there are people out here who get college degrees and can't do anything with their college degree. I'm one of those people. I got a college degree into something, but I got into a job which was my hobby. Kind of hobby. I wouldn't say hobby. It was just something I was interested in, and I got a job in that. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say weird necessarily, but again, you also have to look at where you're at. You know, you can't go into like the countryside and expect to get a technology-based job. The countryside doesn't have technology for the most part. You know, you have to go into like big cities for that. You have to be realistic at what you're trying to get a career in, and then how to get employment from that career. If nothing else, find a way to be an entrepreneur. And that's YouTube is a way of doing that. There's a lot of people who YouTube was not a job back in the day, and now there's a whole bunch of YouTubers. There's a whole bunch of Twitch streamers. There's a whole bunch of TikTokers. There's a whole bunch of whatever else is out there that you make money off. There's many ways to do it. And I will say I get a little bit of a pushback from some people. It's like, well, yeah, not everyone can do that. It's like, well, yeah, but at least you have a chance to do it. You have a chance to do it now than 20 years ago where people didn't have this chance. Well, maybe 20 years ago. That's about a good right. 20 years ago, this was not an opportunity to have. And yet you're saying like, oh, you know, not everyone can. Yeah, obviously not everyone can become the CEO of another company. That doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity to. You know, the fact that you have an opportunity, you should try if you want to. But don't complain about an opportunity and say that, well, my probability is really low or anything like that. I don't know, I'm probably talking a little too too weirdly. But yeah, you know, obviously we have opportunities today. And I hate the fact that some people... I don't hate the people, I just hate the fact that they kind of look at opportunities as, oh, I have a 95% chance of failing. It's like, well, yeah, you know, 20 years ago, it's a 100% chance of failing. It's gotten better. You have a 5% chance, give it a shot. You know, you never know. Understand the position that you're trying to get into, the job that you're trying to do. If you're going to get on YouTube, you have to be entertaining. I don't know if I am or not, but anyways, to some people I'm sure I am, to some people I'm not. But yeah, and to get into a CEO position, do you have the drive, the mentality, the whatever else is needed to be the CEO of that job? Or are you only good for flipping burgers? You know, I don't know. It's just, you have opportunities, and you have even more so today to be an entrepreneur too. So don't look at like there's a 95% chance of failure. Be realistic with your expectations. Like, yes, there's a very high chance of failure. What am I willing to risk to try to start up this business and hope to succeed? Because, you know, it takes a lot of money to start up a lot of businesses. It's traditional businesses, let me say that. YouTube, you just need a webcam, a computer, editing software, and a mouth, I think. Maybe less talky though in the mouth part, at least with reaction videos, perhaps. Let's go and get started. Continue.
Now, after this event, I will surely apply for being a mystic.
Oh, apply to be a mystic? That you don't have to apply. Anyway, it happens. No, you didn't get the part. There is something called as mystic and a mistake.
Being in front of you, there might be certain mistakes, but I am totally into mistakes. What do you say?
Probably not mischief. Okay, moving on. Sadhguru, like you said, that we need to club together and find newer ways to employ people, and basically it highlights on us being ambitious. So, I am a very ambitious woman, I think, and I have whole lot of bucket
You have
lists.
only 32 teeth to attend to. That's not very ambitious.
No, but that's not it. Do you think that I am a dentist and that is it? No, there's more to life, and that you have professed in one of your videos. So I want to ask that yes, I am very ambitious. I have a whole lot of bucket list of things that I want to do, and I want to achieve.
Bucket list is something that you do after you're 70, yeah?
You can start early,
Before you
come on.
keep the
Sadhguru.
No, I can wait till I get 70. Anyways, but so there.
She's thrown off her
Bucket
groove.
list, you know how this came? Bucket list means dying is considered kicking the bucket. So bucket list you make just before, a few years before you die. Some things that you have not fulfilled. For a young woman, no bucket list, okay?
Oh, come on.
A list full of dreams,
Okay.
I would call it. But for each dream, for girls in this country, there is a price to pay. There is a certain way in which society wants us. There are unsaid rules, obviously, like you behave in a manner, and or you keep your heads down, or don't speak much, all of that. So
Don't speak much is a good idea.
That's not, I know he's not man enough for that one. That's just people in general. People who speak too much, perhaps I'm speaking too much in this video, tend to get in trouble quite a lot because you speak too much. So saying not to speak much is not an offense. That can be a good thing. Just again, it's the be mindful part of what you speak and how much you speak of it.
It's not a bad advice for anybody.
Now you are in Shivanagri.
this was a serious question. Okay, so to follow my dreams, sometimes I need to break some rules, but I don't want to do it at cost of being dishonor or disrespect to my parents or my loved ones. I want to know, how do I be an obedient daughter, but at the same time an independent woman who lives her life on her own rules?
That's, I mean, this is very much societal things for sure. There's certain expectations for not just women but for men too, obviously. I would, again, the rule that I live by is be honest with yourself, be honest with people, be honest how you live your life. Then I think you'll be okay for the most part. Again, maybe that's coming from the perspective of United States where genuinely you can do that. It's not necessarily something some social structure out there that says everyone has to be a particular way. You're pretty free to do what you want. The biggest issue is pushing your ideas on other people. If you want to be acknowledged a certain way and you demand people to do that, that's a problem. But if you ask people, mind you, most people are fairly traditional in terms of whatever it may be, but you cannot blame people for being traditional. But at the same time, if you want to live a certain way, you have to earn that respect or that right for other people to change their ways. It's really weird to say that, but like if I want someone to call me a particular word or whatever, it's if they want to, they can, but I cannot force them to. And some people require respect for that, a certain level of earning. I don't know what to call it, the right way to call it, but in order for me to get them to change their mind on what they call me, say if they call me by my first name, but I prefer a different name, that may be something they can't accept. If I can convince them to that, that's great. It's a level of earning. I don't know how to describe that, but like, yeah. Anyways.
Okay. See, we want to do something that we want to do, and we want to do it with everybody's approval, and then we don't want to pay any price for it. Life doesn't work like that. When we do something that we really want to do, there is a price attached to it. Because the nature of life is like that. If you do a certain thing, there is a price to pay, there is tax for that. What is the level of tax depends on how revolutionary is your idea. So, this is very unrealistic that people are always thinking, I want to do this, that, but my father… Well, you must be glad that he brought you into this world. Beyond that, don't complain, huh? What is your father doing? He's doing what he knows best. Hello? Yes or no? What he knows best, he is doing. If you want to know, if you believe that you know something better than him, first thing is you must be able to convince him. But he is not able to grasp it, he will not be convinced. Then how badly you want to do what you want to do, you must see whether it's worth going beyond these lines. If you decide it is so, that anyway you want to do it, no matter what is the price, you do it, but there will be a price.
That's essentially what I was kind of trying to say. There's something that you have to earn. People can't just believe you right away. And for example, the father thing would be great. Like, a father may not believe in you. It's kind of, you could say it's kind of a bad thing, but it could be kind of a safety thing, because doing something out of the ordinary is very risky, but it can be very rewarding. And if you can prove it to him, I think this is generally for men. Men, I do believe, tend to earn things. You're not automatically friends with men, generally speaking. Generally, you have to earn the trust and stuff. Trust is always earned. A certain relationship with men, I don't know if that's everywhere or if that's just with me or whatever. We can be cordial, we can be friendly with each other, but in order to be closer, things has to be earned. I don't know how to describe that. A trust has to be earned. That's very, very much me, but there's a certain level of earnness that you have to earn to be able to say certain things with men, I suppose. That's getting a little bit too far out there, but I hope the general idea is out there. There's a lot more to say, but I can't keep talking like that.
Now you want to say, I will do what I want, but there should be no price. There is no such life anywhere, not here, not anywhere.
Sorry. I know I keep pausing and talking a lot, but this, again, is another thing that I noticed, is there's a lot of, let's say, certain groups of people in a political spectrum that wants to do something without consequences. And if they get a consequence, then they blame the system, they blame other people for it. And that's a big thing in the United States. Well, I don't want to say big thing. I think it's a big thing. I think it's growing. And I think it's arrogance or entitlement or both. But that is a very big thing where they want to do something without consequences. There's just nothing really like that. And I agree with them. There's everything, and essentially in everything in life, there's a price to pay for everything that you do. Even breathing, there's a price to pay. Transfer of oxygen between plants and us. That's the price. It may not seem like a price, but it's still a price. Something has to do something in order for something to happen.
Sadhguru, what opportunity it is that we have a yogi among us in the city of the Adi Yogi. I relate my question to this, that we all know for sure that we'll be benefited that you are here. But do we have some special benefit of being in the city of Lord Shiva? I mean, I do not experience it. are we being benefited directly or indirectly?
I will need a few minutes for this, okay? As all of you already know probably, the word Kashi means a tower of light. When we use the word light, we use the word light for many things in human life simply because of the nature of our visual apparatus. You have a sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of touch, and you have sense of sight. Among all these five things, in the human being, the sense of sight is the most powerful one. How much life you drink through your nostrils, through your taste, through your touch and through your ears, and how much life you drink through your eyes is very, very disproportionate. Suppose you take a dog or any other carnivorous animal, he runs his life through smell, you know. He finds his food that way, he finds it mate that way, that's how he finds his way wherever he wants to go. For him, sense of smell is dominant. But for a human being, sense of sight is so dominant that our sense of sight functions best when there is light. So whenever we see something, we say, it's light. When we see something new, we say a new light has come. No new light has come, we're just seeing better. Because we're seeing better, we refer to that as light. So in that context, this is a tower of light. This means they built a machine. I'm calling this a machine because you're in the university. Essentially, it's called a yantra. The word yantra today also in English translates as a machine. Why do we build a machine? Say, because we are able to walk, we came up with a bicycle. When we got tired of walking, we came up with a bicycle. Why? Because we are able to locomote, but now we want our locomotion to be far more effective, so we came up with a bicycle, then we powered it, it became a motorcycle, then it became an airplane, then it became many, many things. But suppose you were made like a tree, rooted to one place, would you have thought up a bicycle? Would you? No. Now that we can speak, we have a microphone, we have a telephone, we have all kinds of phones. Now that we can see, we have a periscope, microscope, telescope, all kinds of scopes. Every machine that we have created is only an extension of the existing faculties that we already have. We have not come up with any machine which does something totally different from what we are able to do. It only extends our ability. Because we cannot create a machine which does something different because we don't know what the different is. We have no way of exploring something beyond our existing faculties, isn't it? We can only extend our faculties, we cannot create a new faculty as such. So, we built various kinds of yantras. As we built bicycles, motorcycles, microphones, microscopes and various things, we built other kinds of machines which were essentially energy machines. Because we understood where there is a physical machine, there'll be friction, there will be a lifespan, there will be maintenance and various other aspects. So we built machines which are pure energy machines, giving it a form by giving a physical foundation to it. Small machines, big machines, all kinds of things were built for specific purposes. This is what you call as a deity in this country. In this country, I want you to listen to me carefully, not react to this simply. We are a godless culture. We don't have the God anywhere. All the people whom you worship are people who walked this geography at some time, isn't it so? We worship them, not because they dropped from the sky, not because they flew in the air, not because they walked upon the water, no. We worship them because they exhibited an extraordinary sense of freedom. No matter what life did to them, they remained free from that. You look at their lives and see, their lives are not free from strife, their lives are much more strife than your life, isn't it? Far more strife, far more dramatic strife, wars and tragedies and all kinds. In all this, they remained unmoved, balanced, not becoming a reactive force, but continuing to be involved with life. They did not withdraw, nor did they become angry. They stayed there and did what they had to do, whatever they could do. Many times, most of their activities ended up in failure, but the man is a victory because what happened around him never determined who he is. This is why in this culture we held freedom, liberation or mukti as the highest goal. God is not the goal, mukti is the goal, moksha is the goal, isn't it? If you listen to the conversations of your mothers or maybe grandmothers, daily conversation never happened, not spiritual conversation. Daily conversation never happened without uttering words like karma, prarabdha, mukti, moksha. This was like everyday conversation, especially in this city. People came here just for that, not looking for God, looking for freedom, isn't it? So, they built this phenomenal machine, but the vagaries of time, invasions, ignorance, various things destroyed this machine or damaged this machine at various levels, but still it's a fantastic machine. It's not in its full flow, but still it is great and fantastic machine. And will anybody benefit from that in being in its umbrella? Of course they will, but we must understand this. Even if the full moon has come up, if your eyes are closed, maybe your blood will surge up a bit, but you will miss the beauty and the whole thing about it. The same goes to everything, because whatever we are not conscious of, in some way will not exist for us, isn't it? Whatever we are not conscious of will not exist for us, even if it's there in a very big presence. So, are you benefiting from it? Definitely on one level. But are you taking full benefit of it? I don't think so. When I look at the people, the way they're moving around, they will see pilgrims coming like this with tears in their eyes, but these people are going like this about their little danda that they're doing. So, you may not benefit fully from it unless you're conscious, because subtler aspects of life especially will not come to you unless you consciously become receptive. So this is very important. Unfortunately, people have started referring to Kashi as the Makkah of the Hindus and all this stuff. This is not a Makkah, you're not going there to seek God's grace or something else. You are coming here because this place represents mukti or liberation or freedom.
Okay. Excuse me. Good Lord. Actually, I'll go one more question. I don't want to run too long. But that's very interesting. I mean, he keeps saying about the godless country, and then it says the worship of people. And that's one thing that was kind of weird, or not weird, but just a bit confusing. Again, with Swami Sarvapriyananda, how he has Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda. I'm sorry, I can't remember the woman's name. I believe it's the wife of Sri Ramakrishna. But yeah, is it most? Swami Tadamananda has… I can't remember. I know he has… I think he has Swami… He has Sri Ramakrishna's picture. I don't know if whose picture he normally hangs up. He's usually in a very neutral background, and but yeah, and it's always kind of like they worship them. I'm like these are people, and I guess perhaps my perspective is that when you worship, is generally you worship gods, and not people per se, and it's very weird to worship people. And I think one of the questions and asked in one of the Youth and Truth talks is they asked Sadhguru, how can I be like, like a famous actor or actress or a footballer or whatever? And he says, don't be your own person. And I guess it's a little bit confusing, the fact that they worship, these people, but yet he says don't be like them. So I guess there's a bit of a distinction there. But when you think of worshiping, or whenever I think of worshiping, is that you want to, in some aspects, maybe become like them, because you see them as very inspirational and very, how do I say, they've gotten to a point in which you want to become to that point as well. Moksha, liberation, or whatever. You want to be, you want to get to that point, and these people have, so you want to follow their paths. I think in one of the questions, Sadhguru says, don't be like them. But yet, at the same time, the reason why we worship them is because they've done something good. And I guess there has to be a distinction in how Sadhguru says those two things, at least from my mind. The fact that we can look at these people and become inspired to do great things, but do not follow their path, because that might not be the path for you, but still the end goal is always going to be the same. Anyways, let's go ahead and last question, hopefully, for this video.
The next question that we had is, which was very common thing that the students had asked is, I am a suffer in silence kind of a person, because I believe that if I show my vulnerable side to the society, they might use it against me. So I carry a shield and go out to the world. So I want to ask if it is okay to show our emotions, that does make us weak, or we can carry a shield and maybe suffer in ourselves for some time.
I will say generally you don't put it out on the public because they don't know you like that. If you're suffering, I think you should talk to people that you know and love, that you are okay with revealing your emotions to. These are the people that you should be talking to. Public is a bit different. You don't do that. You will be looked at as complaining and all of that. And, you know, to think that you're the unique person that suffers when everyone suffers, you know. So I don't think going to the public for your, depending on what it is a good idea. But to talk to your close people, your friends, your close friends, those people that you trust with your emotions, those are the people you should be talking to about that. My opinion.
No, you're asking this question as if suffering is very natural to you. Suffering is not natural to you, I want you to understand. See, there is something called as pain and there is something called as suffering. If I put a pin into your body, there is pain. But whether you suffer that or not is your choice. Many times, many things that hurt you, you don't suffer. Have you seen this? Let's say you want to climb up the mountain or you want to swim across Ganga. Every muscle in the body may pain, but the moment you reach that side with this painful body, you're so joyful. Yes or no? So pain is not necessarily suffering. Pain need not translate into suffering. Pain is the natural process in the body. It's very good for you. Yes? Because if there was no pain in the body, most people would not know how to even preserve their physical bodies. See, wherever there is no pain, what all they've done to it. If there was no pain in your nose, in the name of fashion, you would have cut it in so many ways. If there was no pain at all in your body, you would walk on the street with your intestines in your hands. Yes, maybe on the stomach bag you could put Gucci.
Oh, Jesus.
And go. Don't tell me you won't do these things. If there's no pain at all, wouldn't you have pulled it out? Come on. You would have done all kinds… it's only the pain which is keeping you. You're walking on the street, if a bicycle comes, you step back. Do you believe it's because of humility? Consequence of pain, isn't it? If there was no pain, even if a truck came, you would go like this. Lot of people are going like that in spite of the pain. The consequence of pain is the only thing which has allowed you to preserve your own body, isn't it? So I'm saying, unfortunately, most human beings are in that state. If there was no pain, they would have cut themselves into pieces. So pain is good for you because it's keeping you in one piece, otherwise you would carry your head in your hand and walk around. Yes, you've seen such imagery. So suffering is something that you do mentally. This is your choice. Either you can suffer or you need not suffer, or you can enjoy the same thing.
I'll say that's an interesting way of looking at it. Even though I know there's a distinction, kinda in my mind, but I never thought to draw a line like Sadhguru said here. Pain. Well, I guess I never really looked at pain and suffering as something separate. It's just something I understood, and that's it, and never really looked deeper in it. That's an interesting, discussion topic to have with someone. And to see if they, I'm sure most people, you say, oh, there's a pain and suffering. Yeah, you understand it, but not in this kind of level.
Many people are enjoying many painful things, isn't it? So, you're talking about like all the time you're suffering, should I show it or not show it? Whether you show it or you don't show it is visible. If you're suffering, is it not visible on your face? You may pretend, but everybody knows. Everybody except those who did not bother to look at your face. All those people know that you're in suffering, isn't it so? They may just keep quiet because they don't want to intrude into your private suffering. And suffering is always a private hell, it's never public, please say, because it happens within you. So, why are we making ourselves into such a mess? Simply because we do not know or… Please. If I hear music, I will… Most people, after 30, 40, 50, 60 years of living here, still have not figured out how to handle their thought and emotion. How unfortunate. When are they going to learn? After 1,000 years? People are pretending as if they have a 10,000-year lifespan. At 50, if you don't know how to handle your thought and emotion, when are you going to learn, I'm asking? This is simply because they gave you a super sophisticated machine. Do you agree with me? This is the most sophisticated machine on the planet. Have you read the user's manual? No. That's all the problem is, not suffering.
Okay. So yeah, again, interesting way. I don't think… Sadhguru answered her question, I think, in one… let me use Sadhguru terms, in one dimension, but not another. I think I answered in a different dimension, but not the way his way. I think both should be said to her, if at all possible. If you're suffering, obviously you should understand. If you can understand your true self when you become liberated, that you understand that you are separate from your emotion. But at the same time, again, what he says is so true about… Again, people don't look inwards and don't think about the things of why certain things are happening to them, and that they're suffering because of, again, what someone else said or what someone else thinks. Or if you want to do something, you'll look bad in your community or to your family. Like she's talking about, she's an ambitious person, you know, and she'll end up suffering because she thinks she's doing something bad. She's not a, you know, a well-behaved daughter to her family, or may have the family look bad because of her actions. I guess I come from a little bit of a different perspective that, you know, obviously don't do anything stupid, but if you genuinely believe in something and want to do something, I can be fully supportive of that. If you fail or whatever, you know, it happens. So long as you're genuine about it, there's nothing wrong in my eyes about it. Of course, that's pretty much a cultural thing, though, and again, I think… I mean, I haven't really… say I experienced much of America, but… you know, generally speaking, you can do what you want for the most part around here, and there are of course cultural norms and stuff, but those are… you can easily break through that. It's not very necessarily serious. I guess there's… you could say there's either no culture, or the culture is so free and open that there's… almost seems like there's no culture in America. And there is, but in terms of like restricting people, perhaps. Or not restricting people, but like making people think that they have to act a certain way. But yeah, if you are genuinely suffering and you're having a hard time with it, there should be some close… this is what I talked about in the last video, about having close friends that you can talk about it to. If you're struggling with your own emotions and you can't handle it, of course, following Sadhguru's advice and learning about Advaita Vedanta and learning about the fact that you're not your emotions will help. But obviously, no one's going to go from 0 to 100 in enlightenment in overnight, you know. So there's got to be other ways to handle it. And the typical materialistic way of handling it is talking with your friends about it. You know, it helps. Science have shown that if you talk about things, it becomes a lot easier to handle. But obviously, you still have to handle it. But yeah, I wish that's the advice that she would also hear, is the fact that, again, don't go to the public with your issues just because they don't know you for the most part. They don't know what you're going through, really. They can only read the 165 characters you put up there, or the entire dictionary long page list of your complaints, but they still don't know the whole story. It's better to go with your friends, your family, people who can be compassionate but objective at the same time. Friends may not be like that because they want to support you and say that you're right. Sometimes it depends on what kind of friends you have. But it's very hard to hear the objective truth of things when it's something completely opposite of what you hope that you're right, or that what you hope that your ideas was correct, and it's not. But I believe in honesty, and as honest as possible. Obviously, you can still be wrong, even while being honest, but as long as they're being honest with you, I think that's great. Anyways, that's my reaction for the first part of Youth and Truth Talk with Sadhguru at BHU, Varanasi. I will struggle saying that. Anyways, if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.